Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. Good to see everybody again.
Good to see you, Andrew Morgan, chair of the JNC. I'm having deja vu with you right now. It's been a couple weeks, but this is now the circuit court spot. And so if you could introduce yourself again, tell us why you want to be a circuit court judge, and then maybe tell us about how things went in Tallahassee as well.
Yes, indeed. Good morning, everybody. G.Kipling Miller, attorney at law. This is my 27th year practicing law exclusively within the 7th Judicial Circuit. I've been wanting to be a judge since day one, but I feel it's this time in my career that this is the right opportunity for me to go back and serve the public, which I did for the first 1/3 of my legal practice at the state attorney's office. I feel that I could bring years of experience sitting in court, trying cases, motions to suppress, and so forth, use that experience to make a very efficient courtroom. And I'll be somebody that is going to follow the law. And to me, the most complimentary thing when you're a judge is that you know, as a litigator, that that particular judge is going to follow the law, and that's what I intend to do. So I'm hoping that the third time is a charm, but that is by no means a concession that I did not get the county court spot in Daytona. But I am very excited again to have this opportunity to possibly be a judge in our circuit. And I feel that my background as a litigator will be a tremendous advantage to a circuit court position.
How'd it go in Tallahassee?
My experience in Tallahassee was quite good, I must say. I've had a lot of good feedback from the chief of staff with Governor DeSantis, with people that I know. I feel that if given any opportunity, I will be glad to serve. And the experience, every time you do it, I think you learn from the experience and you become more likely to be able to respond to the questions being asked. I'm starting to see a pattern, quite candidly. So it went really well, and I'm hoping that opportunity does arise, or this one as well. And I would take anything that, if given.
Thank you.
Talk to us about your practice of law and involvement at both Putnam and St. John's, and how you defend a race, including those two counties. I know you more as a Flagler-Volusia guy.
As you said, Mr. Reed, I probably do 50-50 Flagler, Volusia, but I've had cases throughout my career in St. Johns County, in Putnam County. Each experience is unique, but it's the same state attorney's office. It's judges that I will know in advance. I'm quite familiar with all the judges within our circuit, and I find that every experience within our circuit has been rewarding. I've had no issues whatsoever traveling. In this particular location, if this becomes a Putnam position, as we know, two very experienced judges who were from Ormond Beach area, Judge LaRue and Judge Parsons, they started out in Putnam County, and from what I gather, they found that to be a tremendously good experience, and I would look forward to that as well.
This is Terry White. Couple of items. If you were to go up from this committee this time for this position, and the other position still is not filled, the county position, and in my hypothetical, you're now up there for another interview and the county spot has not been selected, what would your response be if asked? As between the county and the circuit, where do you believe your skills would be best put to use?
Thank you, Mr. White. I've been thinking about that question, that scenario, and I feel if given the opportunity, I would prefer the circuit court position as an opportunity to do different areas of the law. As mentioned previously, a lot of the judges that are on the bench now are my contemporaries, most of which work with me at the state attorney's office. I feel that I still have a very good relationship with them, and ask these questions. And one of the questions that I asked myself is that predominantly I've had a criminal background, although I've done civil areas of the law. I've done family law. I've tried a family law case. I've done relocation cases. I've done juvenile. I've done dependency, and I've done lots and lots of injunction hearings. So I feel that my diversification would be more suited for the circuit court position if given that scenario, which I would not turn down either, but however, I prefer the circuit court position.
Thank you.
Mr. Miller, as you know, circuit court runs the gamut from criminal to complex civil litigation. What would you do to educate yourself and to become, efficient and proficient in the civil arena, which, would necessarily include complex civil litigation, a whole different set of rules of procedure? It's just a different animal. What would you do to prepare yourself for that?
Number one, I think the foundation that I have as a litigator is what you need to do in order to practice other areas of the law. For example, I feel that I have a vast knowledge of Chapter 90, the rules of evidence. And if you have that foundation, and you also have the foundation in how to run a courtroom efficiently and to be a judge, I would definitely need to read the rules of statutes and so forth, civil rules of procedure, and become acclimated with the nuances of the complex litigation that you mentioned. But I feel that because I had the foundation as a litigator in Chapter 90 and being a trial attorney, once you have that foundation, you will be able to acclimate yourself to the areas of the law by reading and learning. And you have to learn without a doubt when you do civil litigation or other areas of the civil arena in circuit court. That will be a learning curve, but I will learn immediately by reading and also resourcing, because I think the judges within our circuit will assist you. You get a mentor judge as well that I became familiar with. And I've already had volunteers, quite candidly.
Thank you.
Mr. Miller, this is Travis Smida. Can you hear me?
I hear you, Mr. Mydek. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. What do you think are the biggest challenges facing a judge presiding over a docket in Putnam County?
Well, I think number one, I wouldn't have any conflict issues because I don't have any friends or relatives living in Putnam County, because I feel it's one of our smaller areas within the circuit. But I don't find any issues with me as far as my background in terms of any conflicts of interest or any problems being able to handle that docket. I think that docket, from my perspective, is considered a little bit different than the dockets that you have along the East Coast in terms of maybe the demographics and so forth. But as far as being able to practice in Putnam County, I would look forward to that and be able to handle that without any problems.
Thank you.
And let me just say one last thing. I find, like, and you probably see this too, Mr. Mydek, now that you're in private practice, when you travel towards the center of the state, things seem to operate a little bit different than they do along the coast. But I say that with some degree of jest, but it's still the same area of the law. But I would have no problems with Putnam County.
All right, any other questions?
How about the death penalty? Would you have a problem with the death penalty?
I would follow the law. I would not have any issues that are based upon any personal belief. I would follow the law when required under the circumstances in those cases.
Thank you.
But again, I thank everybody for this opportunity. I feel like things are going quite well in Tallahassee. I don't feel like I've reached a point where you've gone so many times that you have diminished return. I feel like I'm still going forward and upward, and I hope the opportunity does arise in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Any other questions?
Before you go, I've got the last two of your cell phone. Hold as 78. Is that a good number to reach you around 5 o'clock?
386-5678, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yep.
so much, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Morgan, the rest of the committee. Have a good day.
You.
Thank you.